The 79 is ready for a little more work tonight. Welcome back. We will see what we get done tonight. Hopefully we can flood test that heater core and make sure we're happy there before we get too far. I don't want to put that inner fender in and then take it right back out. That doesn't sound like much fun at all. All right, those hoses are out. He's going in the back room to cut some new hose lengths. So we'll clean that nipple and clean that one and get them run around, and then we will try to fill everything up before we fight this inner fender. I don't want to do it twice. Okay, and while he's monkeying with hoses, I am starting to look at other hoses, figuring out what in here is going to be necessary. Now we have a vacuum switch plugged into the head down here. We have a vacuum switch, or not a vacuum, well yeah, it switches vacuum, but you know, it's controlled by coolant temperature here. This one, I don't know if it's coolant temperature that's running it or exhaust temperature, but either which way, not worried about those. I think in the short term, all we're going to do is disconnect EGR. We're not going to worry about timing it or blocking it off. I do want to throw the Dizzy on just a standard ported and get rid of all this timed ported stuff. And then part of what I'm doing right now is documenting where things are in case I mess anything up. So one of the things is this dash pot here, for while the choke's running, goes up to a Thermac on the air cleaner, and there's really no reason not to keep that, so we will hook that back up. And then this is the fresh air feed from the air cleaner for the choke. So there's this little guy here, that's the fresh air feed. There's that Thermac. There's no reason not to hook that up, so we will. You know, it's not doing anything bad to us. I also do want to keep the charcoal canister because, you know, you disconnect it on these cars and they start to stink really quick. And it's not hurting us in any way. But a lot of this timed stuff for the EGR and for not allowing you to advance the distributor, that's the stuff we're going to start working on in the short run. So, all right, I've got some more hose, so we're going to work with that. Okay, we're making some progress. We have the distributor now hooked up to ported. We have the vacuum hooked up for the canister vent valve. The way we've defeated the EGR valve for now is we put a vacuum check in backwards. So that can't work because we didn't want to deal with, it's got this back pressure thing and it's hooked up to exhaust, and so we don't want to monkey with that right now. We're just trying to figure out, you know, these two go to that TVB, or no, anyway, it's a thermal brake for the secondary dash pot, you know, keep you from opening the secondaries until the air is warmer. We still have to keep this because we do have the EFE flap in the exhaust, so we want that to work, and that's why we made this look like it doesn't. We are not using the DR-TVS. We're leaving it there. I'm going to put caps on it, you know, so we could use it in the future, but that it timed whether it was sending ported vacuum or full vacuum to the distributor advance, and we're just going to leave it hooked up to ported. What else have we monkeyed with at this point? I think we found some hoses, so we'll get those hooked up in a few minutes. It's little bitty things like this, and we're hoping that when all is said and done, we can add just a little more timing to her. You know, make it a little more fun to drive. The PVC system is fine, so we're going to leave that alone. It doesn't hurt anything. So at this point, I think that might be where we're at. We're just looking up. we want to make sure that everything going to the air cleaner, because there's a whole bunch of hoses going to this air cleaner. Just want to make sure that everything's accounted for and in good shape. Okay, so now we just got to convince this hose that it wants to take the same shape as that formed hose did. So this is the shape we want it to take, coming down and around. So that should be fun. So we've started our hoses and we're trying to get them to relax. So time to pick up the car and get them hooked up so we can start putting some coolant back in. All right, as soon as we can find this clamp, our life will get better. But you can see here's the routing, and then it comes up and over. And remember, you know, the inner well will be here, and then this comes down like that. Nice and straightforward. And absolutely impossible to get once the inner's in. All right, so now we're getting ready to drop it and fill her up. You can see, this is how, you know, I mean, there's only so many places they can run stuff. It's a pretty packed engine bay. So, oh, and this is that thermal vacuum switch for the distributor that we're not currently using, but we're not popping it out either. We'll leave it in there. And yeah, so all right, let's get her down. All right, and here's an interesting thing to point out. See how the air bubbles are burping out here? That means we don't have any gross leaks anywhere else. If there was another place for air to get displaced to, instead of through there, it would. So if you go to fill the radiator and it all just goes in no problem, then there's another leak somewhere. So that's a good sign. Now, it's not going to catch small leaks, but you know, if you forgot to close the petcock, or you forgot to connect a hose, or you got a blown head gasket, you know, it would definitely just pour right in, no problems. So it's a good sign that we're displacing air. All right, she doesn't seem to be glugging anymore. So he's hooking up a battery. Gonna snug that down and throw the jump pack on her. And we're gonna get her fired up and let the water pump run a little bit. See how bad things are. Right now, we're just looking. Feeling for leaks, looking for leaks, smelling for leaks. I don't see anything yet, and when I looked in here, the floor wasn't green, which is always a great start. Never want a green floor. All right, let's start with neutral. Oh boy, hey, the floor is still dry. Oh, this is awkward. So I'm gonna pump it 3 times. And hopefully she'll start. She may or may not. Okay, clutch down. And let's turn, oh, that's always on as a GM. Okay, I'm not sitting far enough forward here. Having a hard time holding the clutch down. Alright, so she kicked up. The tack's still not working. That's not good. Alright, so we still got some work to do there. Feels like fast idle might be set a little off. We'll monkey with that. Yeah, tack's just reading 500. So, alright, she started. Let's start looking for leaks. That doesn't take long. I finally got my butt out. I killed her. That was on me. Okay. Now, without the air cleaner, of course, we have a million vacuum leaks. So we just capped that, plugged that. And that's not a vacuum leak, but we decided not to get anything in there. Let me crawl back in there and see if I can get her started again. That's always fun. Okay, so there. Still warming up. Always fun. Okay. And now we're letting her cool down a little bit. See if we got any leaks. If we don't have leaks, then you can put the carpet in. If we do have leaks, then we can burn the car. So you can see she spit a little water because it is Minnesota, and you can pretty much squeeze the air and take a drink right now. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Let the engine finish cooling. He can start looking for leaks. If there's no leaks, he can throw a tire on, back her up, and do some interior work. But at this point, things are moving pretty good. I know it doesn't look like a lot got done because this isn't the only thing we worked on tonight, but I'm very happy to see that there's no coolant on the floor yet. That's a really good sign, because that really wasn't fun to get in and out of there. So you can see the floor is still nice and dry. So anyway, thanks for watching. This has been a ShopRex approved video. Have a great night. Thanks for watching.